Okay, so Easter Sunday, and it's James Cooper for the Simple Truths Foundation. Jan has been in contact and she's wanting to get started making her own Simple Truths Foundation products. That's wonderful news. I've said before on some videos where I've put together a package, and I say these types of packages are my favourite. It's someone that's enthused to make their own amazing healthcare topical and panacea like sublingual remedies using the simple formulas that I've been using now for over 10 years for my products on simpletruths.me.uk. And Jan really loved the Copper Face Magic. I gave her I think a 30-gram pot. I've been giving away a lot of samplers. I always have, ever since I started the business. I don't spend any money on advertising. And I'm always looking for ways to drive sales, because the America situation has been a right kicker with the tariffs and parcels being sent back, and I've had to stop selling to America via the shop, although people can still message me and we have to discuss a few things. But it's led to about a 40% drop in sales. So I've been, for UK people who order direct with me, I've been giving a lot of free stuff, and I've got free stuff for cats as well, not food, smells. And so Jan has been ordering with me for years. She's a big supporter of what I do on social media. I've got loads and loads of groups and channels, and I'm particularly interested in cat interspecies communication and domestic cat health and well-being. So I've got the Catnip project on Facebook, Telegram and Rumble, and Jan's also a big cat lover. And I also met Jan for the day in Halifax, and we spent the whole day walking around different areas of interest, Wayne House Tower and the Peace Hall and things like that. And that's all part of my Old World Reset Tartaria studies. Fascinating stuff. And Jan was, she for years she said no, because I said, oh, do you want to do you want to learn how to make your own? She goes, no, I'm happy buying off you. I enjoy the videos you make and all of that. I thought that's fine. Most people are like that. But what happened was Jan told me that after, I think, over 20 years in her accommodation, her house up in Preston, she got a letter saying that she had to leave, and that legally they can do that. So she was given 2 months. So she's now in a position of having been very stable there, having to find a new place. And she said that whole dynamic has pushed her into learning how to make my products. So all these things happen for a reason. I'm sure everything will turn out fine, but what I want to do now is make sure that Jan has all the right information so that she can get creating some products. And you never know, maybe create a second income stream, or maybe just create it so that when birthdays and Christmases come around, or when you want to give someone a gift, you don't have to go and spend £10 in the shop, or go and spend £3.50 on a bloody birthday card. I don't do that. But if you're making your own top quality skin gels or soap bars, or you're making colloidal gold nasal misters, or the transformation colloidal silver and gold sublingual sprays, then that's much better thing to give someone. But you could. And I think Jan's having a lazy think about possibly a way to bring in, even if it's an extra £20 a week. eBay, Etsy, things like that. So anyway, the ingredients on the screen will get Jan going. And like I said on the video this morning, I don't put together packs like this generally. I did last Christmas for a local girl here. But generally speaking, the deal is we sell the concentrates, colloidal silver, gold and copper. And we also give all the information you need. about where to source the other stuff, the bases, the aloe gels, the creams, cream base, whatever. It's usually Amazon, eBay. So it's certainly not worth my time because it's a long time to put together that sort of thing. But maybe one day we'll have a full beginner's pack. But it's easy enough, you know. Hopefully you've got an Amazon account, you can know how to use eBay, and then you can get all the other stuff you need. But this time round, I've given most of it to Jan, um, and we'll see what she does with it. But I think she's going to make some Copperface magic. So I did a version called Copperface Magic Revisited. I used AI. I'm using AI every day, have done for nearly a year now. No, I have done for 6 months, over 6 months now. And I found that it's quite good for coming up with new formulas. And the formulas basically stay the same, but it's good for, I found it very useful for learning about some cat formulas, actually, some scents for cats to put on yourself, but the cats like the scent. But also for essential oil ratios and just experimenting without wasting time and money, but just I use AI to say, oh, you know, what sort of combination might be good for this sort of formulation. It's amazingly in depth. If you imagine that AI knows everything that's ever been published about essential oils, all you've got to do is ask the right questions and you can pull out that information. That's how it is, really. You can spend all day just on one topic and it never ceases to amaze me. So whether Jan decides to go for that particular formulation, which has 50 parts per million colloidal copper, that's a lot. I'll be mentioning to her, well, I'm mentioning now, that possibly, you know, 20, 30, 40 ppm. I don't know, you know, how much better is 50 ppm, parts per million, compared to 30? I don't know. But I'll be discussing that with her. She's got a 10 milliliter bottle of 4,000 parts per million colloidal copper concentrate. So that would make a litre, a kilo, thereabouts, of 40 parts per million. So I might suggest to her that she makes maybe a half kilo batch. She's got 100 grams of cream base and she's got 150 grams of aloe base, but I might suggest she goes out and buys off at eBay or Amazon a kilo tub of aloe. Price is quite good on that. I think it's £13 or something you can get a kilo for. I get 5 kilos at a time. It's a great base. And she was saying she was thinking of, you know, getting started by giving away some samples to people. This is how I suggest doing it. Make a batch for yourself, nice big batch, so that you've got enough to keep you going for months. But also have it in mind to distribute some of it. And I always say that if you do that, just make the deal that they promise to get back to you. And if you can't trust them to get back to you, then get back to them. But say, here it is, this will last X amount of time. Let's say it's a face cream that you've made. You want honest feedback. So you give them a small pot or a sachet of it. And you say, if you use this once or twice a day, then it should last a month or something like that. I really want feedback, honest feedback, not just, oh yeah, I really liked it, thanks, and then say nothing more about it. You want to know, you know, what have you used before that you think might be better? What sort of effects has it had on you? If there's any blemishes, then ask them to take a before photo in decent light. And then hopefully you'll have an after photo as well, and they are worth their weight in gold. But I always say to people, if you can find 5 or 6 people, give them your lovely product, get back to them a month later, and then just type it out or write it out even, and just create a little collection of success stories. That sells the product really well. So that's what we're going to be discussing. And I've also had an idea that I think what would be quite nice is if I have some audio chats with people who've benefited from my work, whatever the area of work is, usually healthcare, but it's conspiracy related stuff as well, metaphysical stuff, yoga stuff, cats, interspecies communication. I've got a few little niches. And so this year, 2026 and forward, I'd quite like to have some audio chats with people. I'm on a walk now, as you can see. And I quite like the idea of just putting the headset on and having a chat with someone for half an hour or more. And then I format that and I can put some video and images over the conversation. And I think those sort of videos, audios would provide good content. So this is the year of creating forever videos that I'd like to think people will still be accessing in years to come, and forever website blog articles about how to get going, creating a small second income, making Simple Truths Foundation type products, how to use the colloidal silver concentrate properly, how to use colloidal gold properly, how to apply our skin gels properly, how to change your diet and lifestyle to make your skin better, all that sort of thing. So I've got my work lined up for me, and then the plan is to get those articles properly out there and search engine optimized and all the things that I don't know very well. But AI is helping me learn how I can get people to keep accessing my material without having to go on social media every single day and spend hours servicing all my million groups. So that's just a little snapshot. There's me and Jan on the screen. You can see a video where I was in Halifax and we were doing sort of earth workings, geomancy type stuff, activating some node up there. And that was a lovely day. And I think Jan's planning to come down to see me in Penzance here, node 1024, to do some more activations with me. And if that happens, it happens at some point in the next 6 months probably. But either way, I'm hoping that Jan will be up for having a conversation once she's had some success, once she's got her first batch together, once she's perhaps distributed a few sachets and then got some feedback, then we'll have a chat. But if you're interested in this sort of thing, if you want to learn how to make your own products, I've got an online training course posted on the Telegram app where I'm not censored unnecessarily. So you can register there and you can access all of my training videos. You can access the footage from my seminars, workshops. There's the formulas spreadsheet. But anyone can join the makers group on Telegram. That doesn't cost to join. And you can get the basic formulas from me, the basic recipes. It's not a secret. But if you wanted the whole, dozens of hours of instruction videos and all of the PDFs and all that, then join the course. £50. No, £40, which is only about, I think about $55 right now or something like that. Lifetime membership. And then I'll save your contact detail with member after the name on Telegram. But yeah, Telegram's a good place to access my work. So thanks for listening.